Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Dima. Good morning to you.
How's it going?
You look fabulous today. I'm digging the necklace.
Thank you. Thank you. I dig it too.
I like it. I went a little casual today. I'm sorry.
One of the few jewelries I have with me because I'm supposed to be here for a week and now it's been 2 months.
I know. Well, I hope you don't judge. I'm going back to a T-shirt that I've worn like every week. My government taco shirt.
Okay, it looks
Get that in there. I'm sorry I'm going casual today. I felt like it was Friday, casual Friday on a Wednesday.
It's okay. No worries.
Look, really what I'm trying to say is my red stick together shirt is in the laundry again.
I love that shirt. I just love it. So we're wearing it on Monday because we have an amazing show then. But for today, we have a wonderful guest that we think so highly of, and she does amazing work. So let's bring in Racheal.
Abracadabra. Racheal,
hello.
You just appeared out of nowhere.
Hi, good morning.
It's a live show.
Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fabulous. How are y'all, Rob and Dima?
Very good. Doing great.
Good. Dima's great. You're fabulous. You said we're fabulous. Woo! I like the way we're starting off this morning.
Oh,
okay. Great.
So go ahead, Dima. Take it away because we both want to talk a lot about what we've got going on here. So
I'm just gonna start by congratulating the amazing Racheal for the influential women in business. So show us the magazine, Racheal.
Yes, look at this.
Yes, where's your picture? I think it's so cool. It is so well deserved. Oh my goodness, you do a lot of wonderful work, so much volunteering. So, and we have Racheal frozen right now in the magazine. Now you're back.
Racheal stopped the internet. We are so happy that you got awarded finally for all of the things that you do and the amazing, just everything you bring to the table, Racheal. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rob.
You got to kind of talk about how this feels to finally be recognized or to be in this, so somewhat cohort of amazing women and influential personalities in business in our local area. Can you talk about what that means to you?
Yeah, it was definitely a surprise. I did not expect it. I think when people think about nonprofit organizations, they don't always connect it with being business. I think it's a huge honor to be nominated, to be accepted as an business, because I do think profits are businesses and do very important work. And so I'm just glad that the community is going to become more aware of what we do and what STAR does, and hopefully get on board with our cause.
I love it. There's some amazing women that are listed as well. Dima, were you not influential at one point in time yourself?
I was last year, so I'm so grateful for everyone who nominated me, including you, Rob. So
look who I am surrounding myself with.
Yeah.
I have to say, get friends like me. Get friends like Racheal and Dima.
Wow.
Just saying.
Thank you.
Amazing for what you both do. And
thank you.
It's got to mean a lot. Okay, so I have another question then, and this goes to both of you. Racheal, you answer first. Who did you want to tell about it first? Like, who were you most excited to share that with?
Well, it's funny for me because I had no idea who nominated me. So I had to walk around the office, popping in people's offices like, did you nominate me for an award? I got to like 10 different people, and finally our counseling director, Brooke Allen at STAR, was like, I did. Did you win? And I was like, I did. And I didn't even know. So I think my staff were definitely the first people I wanted to tell, because it's such an honor to be in this position and to work with so many great people, and to know that by being featured in the business report, this is going to give us a bigger platform for hopefully people that don't know about us to learn more about what we do. So that would be an honor.
Wow. You wanted to share it with your team. That's so special. That's so special. And Dima, who did you just want to shout it out to the rooftops?
Okay, this is gonna sound so funny because I know how much you helped me during the all of, and I even though it's been a year ago, I think when I initially heard, I texted you, Rob. It's so yeah, because he coordinated so much and he collected the information from so many different people. So it's interesting a year later. So yeah. So I don't want to take the excitement away from Racheal. Racheal, tell us how you're doing with all of this. How is STAR? How's your team doing?
Luckily, we are doing well. I think we do, so many face-to-face services with clients that it was really unknown how we would deal with this situation. And, even before the governor imposed the stay-at-home order, we immediately moved to virtual services March 16th. So we were very quick. We're very lucky to have staff that were very flexible. Within a day, we had called all of our clients. We had gotten everybody set up with the technology and the equipment they needed. They were, doing virtual work from home the next day. And really, our services were basically uninterrupted. And so we were able to do that. And this is now week 8 of working from home. I think when it started, we had no idea, but our staff have really thought of innovative new ways to talk with survivors, to connect with them. We're seeing survivors feel so grateful that they still have resources that we provide. And, at this point, it reminds us how important our services are, because even through this crisis, unfortunately, instances of sexual violence are still happening and people still need support really now more than ever.
Totally.
Yeah. And I was reading some of the posts you have, Racheal, on your social media. It is like, as you said, there's still cases happening right now, and especially for universities where the students, like some students, she may not be able to go home, and there's no support, and it's creating an environment where something bad could happen to these students. So tell us more about that.
Definitely. So we are definitely seeing an increase in calls to our hotline for people that are either stuck at home, or they're either housed with their abuser, or they're still in contact with their abuser. Unfortunately, children and teens are at the highest risk because usually they're going out and about, they're at school, they're at daycare, they're at places where they can either disclose something happening to them, or someone can pick up on the warning signs and report it. But if everyone is stuck at home, some people who are in those vulnerable households are trapped with their abuser with little to no resources to contact the outside world. So we're definitely first and foremost worried about those individuals, and then also those in domestic violence relationships, with the stress of COVID-19, with people possibly being out of work or having limited resources. We know that violence during this time can escalate.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of helps if you don't mute yourself when you're kind of running the show in the background. I heard you say the hotline. It was something I wanted to add, but right now we've got that rolling at the bottom of the screen for anyone who's watching. We're going to, through this entire show, look down there for more information on the website. Look down there for this hotline. You might think that this hotline, you might never use it, but you might use it for someone else. Someone else could maybe use this hotline. So it's down there at the bottom. I'm going to double check this because I did this really fast. So I'm going to double check and make sure this is right. But this is an extremely important tool down there. Watch, inform yourself for others too.
Thanks.
Yeah. And Racheal, a lot of nonprofits during this time, it's tough time for them because it's hard for them to do fundraising. It's hard for them to do events. And I'm sure it's the same thing for STAR. So tell us about what are your team experiencing related to this, and how can the viewers support you and STAR?
That's a great question. Definitely for STAR and for all of our nonprofit partners, there's a lot of unease about what the future of fundraising is going to look like. Even here in Baton Rouge, we had an event planned for April, which Rob was actually part of, called the STAR Variety Show, which we've had to cancel an in-person show at this point, but we are toying with the idea of doing a virtual show, and Rob has said,
"Come on, baby, come on!
Yes,
We got to make this happen. I mean, we have to.
we will.
We got to do all that we can, but keep going, because this is important."
Yes. And so definitely thinking about new and innovative ways to bring fundraising virtual, and to really relying on our networks and our supporters to donate, even though people are going through tough times, even though we're not sure what's going to happen with the economy, knowing that nonprofits still heavily rely on donations from community members to sustain our services. Luckily, we are heavily federally funded. At this point, there's no risk to us losing that funding. So we're feeling confident. But of course, with everything going on, everything is up in the air. We're not sure if funding cuts are coming, but definitely still wanting the community to show us support by donating, volunteering, anything they can.
Well, and yesterday was National Giving Day, right? And so that was on Tuesday, but that doesn't mean you can't give this Wednesday today. It doesn't mean you can't give Thursday. It doesn't mean you can't help Friday. I mean, the resources are there. There's a donate button and section on this website. And let's just go ahead and throw that up there again. You don't have to wait. There's no reason to wait. If you can give, if you want to give back, giving back in this way and fashion and to these amazing people in this organization is a great way to do that. So National Giving Day can be every day, and use this opportunity to support and assist and advocate for these that are advocating and those that are advocating for others on their behalf. And I mean, the amazing resources you provide at STAR, you and your team, Racheal, they need more exposure, period. I think a lot of people don't know this is out there.
Yeah.
So if you can give, do whatever way you can kind of add some positivity and create some value around this resource in our amazing community.
Yeah. So
I had to go on a soapbox there. That was.
Thanks. Thank you, Rob.
So for an individual who's facing difficult time right now related to sexual abuse or domestic violence, what advice, what tips do you give for them?
So let me first start by telling a little bit about what STAR does and our
Yes.
services we provide. So we are an exclusive sexual assault center. Our office is here in Baton Rouge, and we also have offices in Alexandria and New Orleans. Annually, we serve between 1,200 and 1,500 survivors directly. And each year that number is increasing as more people become aware of what we do. All of our services to survivors are free of charge, and they can be at any point in a survivor's healing. So it's someone that was recently assaulted or someone that was abused many, many years ago. Whatever their point of healing they're in, they can contact STAR and receive our no-cost services. And that could be counseling services. We do individual and group counseling. We also offer legal representation and immediate crisis response through our hotline. We accompany survivors to law enforcement, to court. Basically anything a survivor needs, we will get them. And, for someone that's experienced sexual violence, I think the most important message that I could give and that STAR gives is that you're not alone. Because people that have experienced sexual violence, and we know the numbers are astronomical, it's actually 1 in 2 women and 1 in 6 men experience some type of sexual violence in their life. And that can include sexual harassment, it can include rape, it can include child molestation. So we know that so many people have been impacted by this, and yet it's not really talked about because it's such an ugly truth in our culture. And so what STAR does is STAR acts as hopefully a beacon of hope for people who might feel embarrassed, who might feel ashamed, who might feel like it's their fault or they did something to, have this happen to them. Our message is you're not alone and it wasn't your fault.
Wow.
That's a good one. And wow, we have to be honest too. Those numbers are probably underreported, right? Is that correct, Racheal?
Very, very underreported. And
why would that be? Why would that be? Is it because people are, they don't feel like they have a channel to release this, or they'd be ashamed, or potential fallbacks or consequences because they sought out some help for something like this? Why Why would you underreport something like this? Why are these numbers probably more staggeringly higher than what you mentioned, which is kind of upsetting? Why?
So many reasons. So I think the first reason is there's just a pervasive misunderstanding of sexual violence. And it's become a little bit more clear since the Me Too movement, and that started really getting traction in 2017. But the idea that people don't really understand what constitutes sexual violence. And so, any type of forced sexual contact against a person's will is sexual violence. And that can include any unwanted touching. It can include harassment. It can include a wide variety of things that can happen in public or private. And so I think that when it happens to someone, there's this first instinct to think, well, that wasn't really what that was, or that didn't really happen, or that comment or that gesture was an accident, because it comes with a lot of consequences to report that. And so I think that for people not wanting to report, part of it is wanting to maintain their own privacy, and also not wanting to be seen as a person that causes problems, or a person that overreacts to something, or seen as a troublemaker.
Yeah.
And I think what the Me Too movement really, really cast a light on is how we don't believe women, and we don't believe women's stories and women's pain. And so people often think that statistics are over exaggerated, or that women lie to get men in trouble, or vice versa. But really, the statistics for false reporting that the FBI consistently puts out every year is that only about 2 to 8% of reports are considered false. And that's on par with every other type of violent crime. So you're just as likely to report a false robbery as you are to report a false rape. And of course, usually false reports have to do with someone being maybe having mental health issues, or it being, some type of, whatever it could be.
Yeah.
And so, of course, the statistics show us that it's happening so often, but the reporting rate actually, according to the FBI last year, was only 29%. So they found that only 29% of rapes were reported to the police. And those studies are shown to be in contrast. So there's the FBI study, and then the Center for Disease Control study, which, regardless of reporting, they ask those questions. And so what we also know is that people don't trust systems. They don't trust the medical system. They don't trust law enforcement. They don't trust the criminal justice system. And there is actually a lot of, unfortunately, truth in that. We know that because it happens so frequently, our law enforcement and medical systems cannot respond effectively to every case. It's just so much. We know here in Baton Rouge, we have understaffed, underpaid law enforcement officers who are dealing with a number of violent crimes. So there's not resources there. Our district attorney's office continues to get funding cuts, and they've had to cut staff. So that's going to affect the way we're prosecuting those accused and, alleged rapists. And so I think that when you look at it systematically, there isn't a lot of resources for people, which I think is why STAR is so important, because we'll help people regardless of their decision to report or not report whenever it happened. We're just here to be that support system, maybe where other systems haven't been able to catch them or fully get them justice.
Wow. And I know from my experience, usually the ones that the predators are usually the ones in power position. So that makes it even harder, and especially in the workplace, where a woman doesn't want to report anything because she's afraid for her job. Of course, she's afraid that she would be seen as a liar, because that's what the first thing that's being said. Oh, the way you talk, the way you're dressed, it's always her fault. So she's afraid also to be seen as a liar. But these individuals, most of the time, based on what I know, is in power positions. So she's afraid to lose her job as well.
Yes. And that's a good point that you make, Dima, because what we see, and this is that really to no one's fault, it's just the way our system is, the burden is always put on the victim. when it comes to sitting through a 5-hour exam at the hospital, having to incur different costs that might come along with that, having to, show up to more interviews, show up to court on your, it's like if you work or if you're, maybe you do shift work or you're low wage, you're not able to dedicate those resources to bringing your accuser or bringing the person that assaulted you to justice. It's very difficult for people to go through that process, and the process can take many years. Unfortunately, it's not a one thing,
I mean, well, that makes sense why we don't hear about this, why people would be sort of willing to keep this inside when you're talking about in an instant, you're now in crisis mode, and to think rational about how this could affect your livelihood, your friend, your circle of friends, your job,
your reputation.
Serious, your reputation. I mean, and then a year-long or more process. I mean, the 5-hour-long exam sounded bad enough. I'm looking down at my table like, my throat gets like a lump in it thinking about what that experience is like. And then for you to have to think, what is this going to look like in 2 years? I mean, a lot of people are asking that question right now, but for a different reason. And you're talking something very, very, very serious. So I remember too, and not to get off topic, but I remember, I'm a male. I mean, I remember growing up thinking that, rape was about sex, and it kind of, I guess that's what it seems most directly related to, right? But it took a lot of pounding in here and a lot of, I guess, advocacy and people sharing why that mindset is sort of not correct, that it really is a power struggle. And
it's control, right? It's about
a lot of control. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't, I guess I'm not trying to, give anyone a pass here, but I'm saying initially that's what I guess I would think that's what I'd be drawn to thinking, but it's not. And when you think about that, control or power for nefarious reasons, that's toxic. It's not an environment you want to stay in. It's usually probably an environment you're going to need to seek support or help or have a support system around you to even exit.
Yeah.
And that's why your work is so important, especially right now where we have so much anxiety about our health and family and finances and job. And some people are even dealing with something as horrifying as this, in addition to everything else.
Right. So if I could add on to your comment, Rob. So this is something we talk about a lot, which is how we think about sexual violence. And we, in addition to our survivor services, we also have community education services. So we do community education with youth and also adults. The conversations with youth talk about consent and healthy relationships.
Yes.
Because you're definitely right that sexual violence has a component of control, but I think because of the ways youth are miseducated, and really adults are too, about how to go about relationships, it can be very confusing. So like when you see romantic comedies where, the guy chases the girl and the girl is supposed to be submissive or, pretend like she doesn't like it or pretend like she doesn't like him or, all these different romantic scenarios that really sometimes look like stalking or, they get a little extreme. I think boys can be taught, that you have to be the aggressor, you have to be the dominant, you have to go after what you want, don't take no for an answer. Whereas women are taught to submit and to be, really accommodating to men in those situations where it might be people where they're having a sexual relationship. It can be very confusing. It can be, because we're taught all these things and depending on the family we grew up in, the religion we grew up in, we just have all these different ideas of interacting with the person we're in a relationship with. And of course, this happens, in heterosexual couples, it happens in same-sex couples, across the board, whatever, you grew up thinking, and it can be very harmful because I think there are instances where men are pursuing someone and they're being aggressive and it's offensive and uncomfortable to the other person, but they don't think anything is wrong because they've been taught oh, I need to be the man, I need to be the aggressor. And so we do education like that with teens about how things need to be consensual and mutual, and you need to have conversations about it, and it needs to be something decided upon, because there are these ideas of male entitlement that support sexual violence happening. So I wanted to respond to you in that way.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Yeah.
So we talk a lot about consent and what consent looks like, because to us, consent is one of those things that's going to help us in sexual violence. Because if we can get comfortable with talking about engaging in sexual activities, or talk about, what it looks like to have a conversation about things that we don't see modeled in the media or even in our own families,
Yeah.
we can teach people those skills and teach people that it's okay for someone to say no. It's okay for someone to say, no, I don't feel comfortable with this. And us being able to accept it and say, like, I'm not being rejected. It's just that I can't cross a boundary with someone that's, communicating clearly of this is what they need.
I like that, because it's hard for me to say no, but I can only imagine for maybe, let's say, a female who's brought up to be subservient, right? Or to sort of be under some sort of control, to not be able to say no. And especially, I'm going to say no has a connotation to it already. And it seems like you're on the defense, but really saying no, you're on the offense. You're taking control. You have that power to at least say no, but verbally disengage from anything toxic like that by all means. And where are you going to get these tools, Racheal, Dima? Where do you? There's no handbook on relationships, and if you are looking at a movie, that's not quite the model or the role model you want to emulate. But there's a lot of it there. There's not a class on consent, but we could all use one. And so you can't really, unless you find someone who's so profoundly demonstrating that, we could all use a refresher on what does consent look like. And what consent looked like as a kid or in school looks way different than what it looks like just in a relationship or at an office. So thank you for saying consent. I mean, and I saw something that was really strange for me initially when I first saw it. I had to process it and think it back, like, really? But kids hugging each other, it'd be nice to have the dialogue there. Like, can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Once,
Yes.
And I'm a hugger. I just want to hug you all right now. I'm painful with this process and COVID and all that. But still, I mean, my first reaction is to just give you a big bear hug because I love you and I'm showing you that I care and I have affection. But do you want that? Is that what you need? Or is that what you would prefer? I should be asking that in advance.
Yeah.
So simple as that.
And that's something you teach, Racheal.
It is. And I also want to say that we at STAR are about to launch something really exciting. So we are launching an interactive web page that's going to be on our website. It's going to be called Start Here.
Nice.
And it is an interactive conversation for people thinking about talking to their partner about having sex. So it goes through a lot of different scenarios. It talks through thinking through what your boundaries are, thinking about what kind of relationship you want to be in, what are the questions you need to ask your partner if you're considering having sex. So asking about STDs, asking about when's the last time you were tested. So we're going to be launching that next week.
Awesome.
And we've been working on it for a while.
Good timing.
There we go. We have that coming out. And we have a lot of information on our website currently about what consent looks like, about what resources are available to people. So, and of course, visiting our website or visiting any of our social media pages, anybody can access any information about, what we're promoting in regards to consent or warning signs of an unhealthy relationship or anything. So, and we teach classes. So we have lots of stuff.
Lots of stuff. Lots of good stuff.
Well, we're glad you're doing this. That's amazing for all of us, for the community, and it's so much needed. Regardless what environment, what economic situation we're living in, it's more and more needed every time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We got to throw a quick couple comments here. We're getting a few people that have noticed. Our friend Dave was shouting out earlier today. What's up, Dave? And then look at this. Good morning again, friends, and timely topic for this crisis. So this is good timing for us. And look, we've got a friend that's asking us how we're doing. And another shout out to Dima there.
Hello.
So you gotta love that. And I guess I'm so glad that you brought that up about consent. We that's something that shouldn't be glazed over. But you said you had like resources on your website for this. Like, can I bring up the website really quick and you can kind of point us around some things that you'd like to show?
Sure.
Racheal, would that be okay? Okay, great. I want to pull up your website because it is a great resource. It's got a lot of great stuff here. And here we go.
Shout out to Designs Interactive.
What? Did you? Who was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Could you speak up?
Ron McMillan, Designs Interactive.
Hey! Oh my goodness, I love it. So I was browsing around earlier. So excuse me, I was getting some good info myself. But so this is the STAR website, right? You've got the hotline at the top, and an extensive menu. So where would you want to put some emphasis on for the people at home to get them familiar with your resources that you have?
Sure. So if you look under the About, so if we talk about our story,
yes,
we don't want to go there. There's lots of information about how we got started and a little video. We got a video, but you can watch it at your own time.
Saw the video. You can watch that.
And then if you go under, our impact, you can see the numbers of people we've served in the past year. You can learn about our history, our annual reports. We update those each year with specific stories of people we've served and people we've helped. So there's lots of info there.
I just pulled up. Okay, well, here's another thing too. So you can sign up for updates. I think that's something important we need to bring up. Once you're on the site, of course, go ahead and put this hotline in your phone. At the bottom, scroll down, get your updates, get the newsletter. If you need to see your locations, they're there at the bottom too. Yep. And you said Baton Rouge, Alexandria, and New Orleans.
That's right.
So there's resources. And where do you see, here it is. Donate button. Let's go ahead and go there. We're not a day late, $1 short. We want to be $1 ahead and, just a few hours postponed here because National Giving Day can be today if you so choose. But yeah, so you can donate right here off the website.
That's right. You can make a one-time donation. You can do monthly. It's very easy to do. You can do it in less than 5 minutes. And of course, all donations go directly to supporting our free survivor services and our community education work.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I'm glad we showed that. We have to give credit where credit is due. Not only is it a great resource for you to go to after this show, share it, and shout out to O, right? Shout out to Orhana Designs Interactive for a great website. How would you like to close the show, Rach? What would you like to share? Is there another tip or something maybe that we didn't cover today that we have just a little more time for?
I think that the best thing I could share is that the work that we do really takes a community. So we really, while STAR is here, we are not here to do this work alone. Survivors interact with a number of systems, a number of individuals. And so one of our taglines is start by believing. So when someone discloses to you they've experienced sexual violence, or maybe they're asking a question about something they've experienced and just kind of want your feedback, we always say, start by believing. Say, I believe you. I believe your experience. Tell me more about it. How can I help you? Because our inclination could be to ask questions, which is judgmental. So to say like, well, what did you say? Or what were you doing? Or what were you wearing? Or why did you do that? Instead, say, I believe you. And I know even in this very difficult time, that can be hard because we're already dealing with a pandemic. We're dealing with this economic crisis. And it can be like just another thing. Oh, wow, this person is telling me this. What's happening? But just knowing that if someone is sharing this with you, it's very personal, it's very intimate, and to support and respect them and to start by believing.
Wow. So powerful. Wow. Because even when you were talking, I started imagining what would be the first thing I would do, and most likely would be asking questions. Where were you? Was it at night? Did you have someone with you? So thank you, Racheal. This is so powerful because it brings so much compassion, and it's important for us to shift our mindset of how we are helping others, so more people would be opening up and sharing.
Exactly.
I love that. I'm so glad you gave us that tool because, yeah, my mind went racing right where I would have fallen back into the same old song and dance and asking how I could have helped. But, you know, we're not positioned for that, are we, Dima? We're not that really, you know. But you have a bachelor's, a master's, Racheal. You are a licensed counselor, social worker, right?
Mm-hmm. I am.
That's what you are trained to do. And that's that. You know, I also went to the word. How would I describe this? It's powerful, Dima, because just I believe you that you are acknowledging that and affirming someone that, and they, you know, I hear it a lot, but just want to be heard. So that is, thank you. That I'm so glad that we asked you that question and that you chose that to share, because that is extremely important. Yeah. I believe you.
We always say, just listen. Like if anybody's worried, they're like, what do I say when someone tells me this? Just listen. That's really all you need to do.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm going to try and use that today. I'm going to try and just listen today.
Good.
My goal was to show gratitude today. I wanted to show a lot of gratitude, and I am so thankful that we are now close friends, Racheal.
We are.
I'm so glad that shout out with that Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Alumni Ambassador title we get to wear on the badge right there. But I mean, I need to show gratitude to you, to your team, to, I guess, the city parish that provides some sort of guidance right there, and whoever allows you to get the funding that you need to do the job that you need to do. And I'm just going to sit back and listen, be grateful, and I believe that you're doing what we need to be done.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Racheal.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks to you guys for having me.
Thank you. And for everyone, go to the STAR website that Rob showed earlier. Yep. Check it out for resources. And if you have the ability to donate to STAR, because we all need the services that Racheal and her team are offering.
Amen. Thank you, Racheal. Thanks for being on the show. This was awesome.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Bye.
Have a great one, everybody. Good chatting with you.